Okay, let's try this one more time.
He spends his time, or maybe half of his time, or part of the time wandering around the creeks and cobblestones of Hackney lanes. With a tear in his eye, as the children walk by, he's thinking of the sound and stops to paint a picture of a frown. Walking around.
Yo. What was your time looking like with the strongest price action and move up? By that, bro. Do I think it's possible? Of course. It's definitely possible. It's not something I'm projecting at all. I don't think I want to be going that low. The chart itself would not look great at $18. I think we're gonna realistically probably get some sort of sideways trading for a little while. Change the stream background because it's boring. Lagging again? What the heck? Interesting. Okay. We're just gonna have to, I guess, deal with this lag for a little while. Let's see if it goes away. I think it went away on Monday, so. YouTube, what are you doing to me, man? I just changed the latency to like ultra low latency, and it's still doing this? What the heck? It's good now? Okay, let's hope it stays that way. As soon as you say it lags, it lags. That's funny. Alright guys, ask away. Yeah, I mean, it's not a pretty day, for sure. It's not. It's definitely not a pretty day, but we gotta work with what we got, right? Awesome. Trade in with emotion. What up, dude? Yeah, and that's a lot of people think I'm serious. Like the name of this channel, it's definitely not serious, guys. It's supposed to be ironic. You're right. They're probably attacking me, right? Attacking my stream. What are you guys doing? They don't like the exposing it's being done. Oh, Dwayne Pierce. Yeah, man. So it's not really a fractal. I mean, you can call it a fractal if you want to. A fractal typically is a pattern that will be stretched, basically the same ratio, but it's stretched on a smaller time frame, and that's not what this is. This is exactly the time frame that you're seeing. So these movements that are happened in the same time frame. That's why it's a cycle and not a fractal. But can the fractal change at any point? Yes, it could change to the upside or the downside. I've been trading for about 2 years. I'm being talked about in somebody's stream. Extreme Gains. Oh yeah? What is he saying? What is he saying, bro? What is he saying? I talked to him on Twitter, and I asked him if he wanted to kind of collab on some algo stuff, you know. I kind of want to know his perspective a little bit more compared to mine. So that'd be cool if we kind of collabed on that. That'd be dope. He's seems like a nice dude, nice hype dude. So. Yo, just kind of waiting, you know, chilling out a little bit. I do a lot more analysis stuff once the market closes. So I'll be with you guys for a couple hours. But once the market closes, I'm definitely going to do it more, going to dive more into the analysis part of it. Right now, I'm just trying to answer some questions. See what extreme gains saying. Yeah, I would love to talk to my dude. Yo. Yeah, y'all gotta be careful for sure. I mean, right now it's not a good day. We're down 11%. You know, the cycle tracked identical, so we're probably gonna keep on doing that for a little bit. If it does start to play out inverse, however, guys, you can actually start to see this continue to dip. If this part plays if this part decides to play inverse, we can see some more downside. So we have to keep an eye out for that. It doesn't mean that it's going to continue to track it identical. Daddy Duke, what's up, man? Been here since day one, Daddy Duke. The paint corrector. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So yeah, let's do a little bit of analysis right now just to see where we could possibly go from here. So, do a little fib retracement. Across this, yeah. Swept them over to the stack of notes. I think I'm not getting pushed because my songs contain a lot of bad words. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about because I'm playing music. I'm not sure if you guys can even hear it, but I'm sure it's very low in the background. I mean, any indicator is going to give you just a good overall picture of what's happening with the stock. What that does, it gives you a good representation of the volatility in price just over time. But I try and stick just right now. I'm trying to stick away from a lot of these indicators just because. If I have a good tool that's working for me, if I know that the cycle is working for me in this sense, until it starts to fail me and I understand that, I should be looking at technical analysis a little bit more in that sense after that, then I will. But right now, this is what I want to keep an eye out on for a little bit at least. This is the Arcs. It's if you guys know who Dan Auerbach is, the guy from the Black Keys, lead singer from the Black Keys. He has a side project with the Arcs. I saw him back in 2016. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. Yo, I don't even know if I have the right... Do I have the right link on Twitter? Oopsies. I don't have the right link. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Delete that. Okay. That's funny. I'm so goofy sometimes. Yes, it does sound like the Arctic Monkeys. And man, Arctic Monkeys are my favorite band, so they're tied up there with MGMT. It's where all the psychedelic weirdness from the songs comes from. Okay, let's get the right link on Twitter.
Metanoia, reshaping the world. It can teach
Oh, don't be scared, baby.
and reprogram you.
It's gonna be okay, guys. It's gonna be okay.
Show you the flood is trapped inside. This one's alive. Taylor's breathing, and she's listening. Kill the serpent, divide, disperse and grow into an O. Silver lining on a black scale.
Hell yeah, love it.
Wicked hunter on 3 hooves, he still roams. But where is the
I guess I can start showing you guys some crazy stuff. I mean, we only have 40 viewers, but I mean, I don't care. It's whatever. You know, I feel like this message should definitely be represented in some sort of way, or push the community to the, you know, everybody put some sort of consideration or input in something like this, because I mean, there's definitely a manipulation happening, okay? And it's sad. It's just straight up sad that we have come to this, that where people are just unfolding all of these secrets in the you know, in the market, and that's just not fair. It's not fair. So exposing the system is the only way out. And yeah, if the system wants to prove me wrong, well, do it then. Like, prove me wrong. Why are these patterns following the same up and downs happening? What dates of the cycle are you looking at for the predictions? So I don't have predictions that I post. I just post obviously the outlook of what's happening, and if you know that's something that helps you, great. I'm gonna give you a couple scenarios, but No predictions or anything like that. So what I have going on here is, if we look at this structure that we've been following to a T, identical form, then what we can do is take the inverse pattern as well and lay it over and see how that could possibly work with the technicals, right? So what I said was, if we were, for whatever reason, if we were in this giant wedge, okay? Now, this might be extended a little bit lower, which is the thing. If we do cross, right now we're at 2250. So if we do cross, I mean, honestly, like 22 is already pushing it. We would have to just bounce back very soon to start finishing up what is this wedge. If not, we're going to be moving into a sort of W. And that's a double bottom W. That's always possible. What are the scenarios? Yeah, man. I'll show you the scenarios. So, let's see. The Barrett. Laugh really hard at this. You guys are going to laugh so hard. But I guess I connected my phone. I connected my phone to the computer. And for whatever reason, the it detected hotspot. So my phone has been feeding Wi-Fi basically to the computer for the last 40 minutes. And that's why it's been lagging. Oh my god, bro. I'm so stupid. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay. It should not be lagging anymore. We should be good. Oh god. That's so funny. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm so sorry. It's been 23 minutes. It's all right. We're gonna be on this stream for a couple hours, so we should be good for the rest of the stream. Man, swear I'm the most oblivious dude. I swear. Nah, it's not you, baby. It's me. Good stream, Garbo stock. Nah, I mean, let's be nice to Amy, okay? She's been through a lot. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm trying to keep the music pretty chill. You know, I listen to a lot of early 70s, late 60s, like modern type of music. I love it. It's just so chill. This is, I mean, this is like Pink Floyd a little bit, but this is actually MGMT. MGMT does a lot of like their B-sides and their like lower key songs are very Pink Floyd-ish. Extremely oversold territory. Yes, definitely oversold. If Melvin was right, then why did hedge funds get cut off or cut in half? That's Kenny for some monies. I mean, they're partners basically. I mean, when you have hedge funds helping each other out, they've got. I mean, you have to remember they got taking care of each other's basically. They got deals and stuff. They got to meet and stuff like margin requirements and equities of each other's. So they've got to take care of that stuff. Ever listened to Animal Collective? Yes, I have. Man, those guys are insane. Oof, they are. That's an experience right there. Is today's chart another algo? Sorry, just jumped in. Yeah, no, you're fine. So just the algorithm, guys. Remember, constantly shifting. Right now, what we got going on is we're tracking the the same cycle. It seems like we're shifting over to an inverse version of what's happening. So we track this red here. We track this red pattern here for a good almost 2 weeks, or about 2 weeks. We tracked it to a T. And now it seems like we're shifting away, which has me thinking that we will be playing out the inverse of what's happening. And my bearish case was saying that we would come down and then we would bounce back up towards the end of the week. So that's also a possibility. It's a possibility that maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow we might get a small bounce to the upside and then come back down again on Friday. That's just, it seems more likely, because typically with days like this, where you get, all like continuous downside, you typically get a bounce, okay? So right here, we're on a micro level, and also on the macro level, there's just been a lot of downside. So if you think about it here, on the micro level, there's gonna be a bounce at some point, and that seems to be very, very soon, according to the cycle that I have tracking. See. Me and Booksy are on a Discord. We talk stuff on there. Yeah, I appreciate that guy. I appreciate him a lot. What were the scenarios? What can we look for? So the scenarios, I always give a bullish, a bearish, and a neutral scenario. The bearish scenario was going to take us down here to the $21 area. So if that does happen, well, I would see a bounce from there. That's just it's just my way of looking at it. If we do get this double bottom, I don't think we would come all the way down here to the $20 level at least. I don't think that's gonna happen. But that's just my thinking here. AMC, like I said, has gone through a lot. Most music sounds like man trying to describe the universe. Yeah, well, Mozart, yeah, no, man. Mozart, everything comes down to classical music, so definitely, man. Mozart, amazing dude. Serious question. I ask all AMC YouTubers since they're like... This isn't... Okay, so there seems to be some sort of like movement on like why we're doing technical analysis and stuff on AMC. I mean, why are you in the stock market, bro? Like, are you trying to make money or not? Because like, if you saw a manipulated stock, wouldn't you want to make money on that stock if you know how it's running? I mean, that's the whole point. You can make money knowing how these movements are happening. Sounds like old Bowie. Yeah, Bowie definitely sounds like Bowie. If the algos are just scripts, flipped, or stretched, utilize doing timeframes, what catalyst exists to make it moon? So remember the projector pattern that I was talking about. So the way this would work is, here, I'll give you guys a setup here, okay? Just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's just say that we do play out this sort of like W. I'm going to go on the 2 hour here so we can see it on a larger... Stick with these ugly session breaks. Okay, yeah, so...
Dancing my underpants. I'm gonna run for government. I'm gonna form a covers band and all. Back there by the baby grand. Did Mr. Winter Wonderland...
Let's just say we get that double bottom. We could keep going lower. I don't think that's going to happen. but let's say we just start bouncing soon, okay? So when we do start bouncing, I don't see anything crazy happening. Like, I don't see like a crazy run up to the upside. I think it's going to be like this. So it'll be like a slower type of movement to the upside. Just because we've seen this in the past, guys. They are trying so hard. This would be ideal right here. This would be freaking ideal, man. Because you would break out of this wedge, right? You would break out to the upside, and then you would slowly start to establish that support, okay? So a lot of the times with this, you can kind of take, you know, any bars pattern really, and just flip it over. Something like that, I don't know. To establish support in these areas, you come up, you come back down to 28, and then you come back up again, and you slowly start to make your way up. Because once you get to these levels, these lower levels, I mean, it's being manipulated so much. It's harder to come back up from that. Once the setup is ready, I don't know. Even something like this would be ideal too. Like if we just came back up and then bounce back here, 27, came back up here. Once you get this setup, it's easier to create a projector pattern that would ultimately take you to where you want to be, right? What happened back here, prime example, we were on this trend here for a little while, and then we came up, established support at the $12 area, and then we kicked it off. We broke out of this giant flag down here. So it's also a possibility. This would be ideal. This would be pretty ideal. My argument or point is that TA doesn't help you here. Yes, I'll want to make money or any fundamentals here. I don't. Hey man, just if you look at my channel, it's all AMC. I don't do TA on anything else, and I wouldn't even call it TA, because I'm trying to show you guys the cycle and what's happening with the cycle. I don't do TA, buddy. Everything that I do is specifically talking about the cycle, and when I talked about the projector analogy I had, it was specifically saying that once you got to this projector, these hedge funds used this technical analysis as a way to sort of manipulate the stock. They'll make us think they're ready, that it's ready, and then they'll short it, or it'll be ready and good to go, and it'll go to the upside. Remember, this projector, what it does is it takes this volume, and it's able to tell the system, hey, you can't hold on anymore to what you know, the illegal shit you were doing. Like, we can't do that anymore. So that's where it shoots up all of this volume. But right here, remember this pink pattern, what happened here was the machine said, nope, this is not enough volume. So now once they have that information, they're able to short it down again and repeat the cycle, prolong the cycle even more, shift around the patterns in ways that make sense according to option expiration dates. Yeah, and I'm sorry, man, if that's not something that you're looking for. Like I said, I don't really do technical analysis on AMC. It's more studying the cycle part of it. These repetitive movements that are happening and how it's being manipulated. Yeah, Christopher, you said it right there, man. What are the dates of the past? So remember, this is not a fractal. It's a cycle. Some can say that they're the same thing, but I'm not shrinking these cycles. They're in their identical form. This is the same time series. It's not like if it was a fractal, then I would grab this pattern and I would shrink it in half, and now it becomes a fractal. But it's not. It's the same time frame. Remember, cycles are based off of frequencies, is when something is frequently happening, and that is what the cycle is showing us. Hold up, guys, I'm getting a little OCD with these. What are the dates? These are the dates, my guy. I'm sorry, guys. If you are new to the channel, I highly recommend you go watch my first video. The first video I ever posted is called The Cycle Song. Everything you need to know is on there for you. As far as the cycle goes, it talks about the dates. It talks about how they're doing this. But I'm gonna keep it on here anyways for you. It's a 62-day cycle on the hour chart. So we're on the 2-hour chart. So the 2-hour chart's always gonna be different. But yeah, let's go to the 1-hour chart here. 688 bars. So it's a 62-day cycle when you move it all the way through. See, 62 days. 62 days on the hour chart is 688 bars. So obviously some days you're going to have overlapping, right? Like over here and over here because of holidays and stuff like that. So, but it's still 688 bars all the way through. That doesn't change. Let's keep this guy over here. So are they sequential? So basically the way it works, man, and I talked about this on my on the cycle session video, is that when you approach the pink pattern, so specifically the projector, the cycle itself shifts. So it moves around what's supposed to be these patterns that are happening, and you can see that a lot. For example, let's compare all these right here. So this is one cycle here. And if we bring this down and try and kind of break it down, right? Not all the moves are going to be identical by all means. It's specifically the ones that are important are where it's following inverse or identical, because there's a lot of noise in between the cycle, and that's normal. For example, right here, this pattern, obviously it has to do with the run-up, because they're shorting it, right? For what they were able to do back here, if they have enough to be able to short it at some point, they will use that to create this giant flag. That was like the ultimate goal, was to create this very attractive flag to prolong everything and make people sell in between. Because if you think about it, just from a technical perspective, technical analysis perspective, a flag is the most basic, basically the most basic technical analysis that anybody can do, because you draw your resistance and support lines, and like anybody could do it, and anybody can see what a flag looks like. So they know that when retail goes into this, that's going to be their best option, because it's how you can prolong all of this, man. Like, look at how long it took them. It took them from June 4th until November 15th to I mean, that, bro, how long is that, man? How much money were they able to just, yeah, 167 days, man. Like, that's insane. Yeah, so anyways, Inverted pattern here. Here's the blue pattern. That sexy blue pattern that is just something else, man. I don't know. It's the same thing. All these movements are being played out in identical or inverse form, and you see that lay out throughout the entire chart. Down here, you can see that this is a reflection of this, right, to the upside, covering all of this crap that they shorted. Short, cover. Let's do another one. So volume is needed to disrupt the manipulated algo. Is the same volume required to run up? So volume is very, very... It's different. It's definitely different. Just because we're dealing with a different price, obviously, and that just has to do with the actual trader coming into this, right? Because I do believe that we need enough volume to take this to, to cause this chain of events, right? That would ultimately lead to the squeeze. And you have to think about it from a psychological perspective here. If you were the average trader, the average demographic trader that is actually trading AMC, normally will be on the younger side just because it's labeled as a meme stock and it's more attractive to the younger community. So if you think about it from that sense, obviously the younger community doesn't have enough experience, okay? And sometimes that's really crappy to look at it that way, but it's true. So a lot of people are going to think, oh, well, I think it's comfortable for me to go in at a lower price because it's just more attractive, right? Rather than going in at 77 because that's more expensive. But now that we're down here, it's like, okay, well, there's a danger zone involved because the price is becoming very favorable to these traders, and they have to consider that. They have to consider that at some point they're not going to be able to do this anymore, and then once the technicals line up, they're going to be screwed. Telling you, it's just that we're waiting for that technical setup, and we'll be fine after that. Hedge Hunter, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you all, by the way, guys. Thank you all for watching and taking your time to just read the charts with me. And dude, I do this for you guys. I love it. It was a really hard time for me back here because I learned the hard way doing all this, and I felt really crappy that I went in back here, man. I went in at like $20, and it was just terrible because I had put in a lot of money, unfortunately, and it wasn't good times. It wasn't good times, so I empathize with the community, and I think the best way to show you sort of exposing the system and what it's doing is just that's my goal, man. I just want to spread all this information to you guys, and for the system to change, because it's ugly, man. The system is just ugly. No, bro. Hey, Assidious. Hey, you're entitled to your opinion, man. I'm not. You guys can say whatever you want. I'm not going to take it like you're coming off rude. Like, if you have a difference, you're entitled to that. You're entitled to your differences, and if we can meet on some middle ground here, then that's fine. But just one thing to note is that obviously I'm pushing out my narrative here. That is not financial advice, but I am pushing out what I have found. So it's, if I consider something you say not to be true just based off of the research that I have done, well, then I also expect the same from you, right? Not to get offended or anything like that. see, I'm trying to catch up on these. And make sure you guys leave a like on the video. You know, get some more peeps in here and see if they can we can all come together and stuff. Let's see. I mean, it's a Kunal Patel. Hey, thanks for your question, man, or a statement there. But it's not that they have intelligent people. I would say that this algorithm has always been in place. It's been in place for a really, really long time. It's just now that the algorithm is basically being overclocked. It's an AI algorithm. It's artificial intelligence, so it's constantly learning on human behavior and how things are happening in the market. When they have access to these things, it's really hard to sort of combat that. But at some point, that machine will definitely fail if the requirements aren't being met and the threshold is constantly being overclocked. At some point, that machine's going to fail. Honestly, I don't see this playing out for another year. It's it doesn't make sense to me that they would do this for another year. I think the momentum right now, the amount of traction that AMC still has is huge. You know, we have not. I'll give you an example, I guess, and this is like the first time that I'm basically tracking away here from other stock. But here's an example of like basically a pump and dump. You know, and they keep shorting the hell out of this. But I remember I was in on SOS for a little bit when they did the whole the mining crypto rigs that they had, and there was just a lot of hype back here for February 17th and then everything got shorted. But you saw all of these mining companies go up and down, and this is an example of a pump and dump, right? Like, they pumped it up, they started to sell these options again, and then they would keep all these premiums all the way through back here. And look at how much they've shorted it for how long. I mean, this is a prime example here, right? This is SOS. Let's copy this pattern. When I talk about momentum here, do you think that a stock like AMC that has constantly been forming a nice structure, nice support, even though we're down here? I mean, we're still at $22 from $1.90 back in last January, a whole year, and we're still at $22. I mean, bro, that's insane. That is insane. Okay? We're not a dead cat, brother. We're not a pump and dump. We're just not. Okay? We have structure. Amy looks good. Crypto, yeah, there's definitely a cycle, in my opinion, at least, to crypto too. I think the whole market itself has some sort of cycle, but some of them you can like clearly see, and I think AMC is a prime example of that. You see these cycles play out with extremely manipulated stocks. Yo. What I strongly just want from the community again is, like, I want the hype that we had before, because, like, the hype, guys, that the momentum is still there. It's definitely still there. People are not giving up or anything. But man, I remember back in the day where it was like a lot of people just didn't worry as much. Like right now, people are getting worried, and I think we all need to just come together and realize that. I mean, it's okay. It's gonna be fine. Just is volume suppression real? So this is where I have my theory here with how dark pools work, but basically remember this projector pattern, when they inflict all of this volume just comes in, they're basically able to store it away for a little while, and when that happens, they're able to like I said, come up with this sort of projector pattern, which means you will come up, test all of this volume out, basically a test run, and then bring the price down, and that's where the system will tell you if you're good to go or not. And I'm telling you, every run up in the past has had a projector, and that's my theory of it. I just think that they use this in dark pools to manipulate the volume in that way. I mean, we don't know where these shares are, guys. Remember, like when the short interest was high, and they were, unfolding all of these shares, and the shares outstanding were the same as the just the float. I mean, that's insane for a stock like AMC, for the float to be exactly like almost 100%. You really don't see that. You don't see that. So that's crazy. I love Amy, and she loves me. Yeah, dude. What's not to love about Amy? I mean, they did her pretty. They did her pretty nasty though. Not cool, but I have a feeling we're gonna bounce hard at the end of the month after all these options. Milo, or that's the goal, man. That's the goal, to bounce back, right? Because we've been on a downtrend for a little while. So yeah, that's the goal. We'll see. We'll see. Yo. Yeah, I'll be on here for about an hour and a half more. I love ya, Amy. Yeah, I love ya. Heart the hype with price going down 70%. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I really do. But this is why it's important to inform the community with stuff like this, so they have an understanding, right? Because when you just look at things from a technical analysis perspective, obviously there's going to be a lack of hope. So my whole thing here with this channel is obviously like the name, trading with emotions. Like, that's the goal, is not to trade with your emotions. The goal is to have a pretty hard mentality on how stocks work and how the system is working, so that you don't feel like crap, right? And that's part of the reason why I do a lot of music and stuff in the songs, because I want to sort of incorporate that feeling and this like sort of happiness that we should all be having when the stock is not where it needs to be, right? That's the message, guys. I'm genuinely, like I said, when I was back here, I was not having a good time. I mean, even throughout this whole mess, guys, it's been rough for sure. And that's why I think that everybody coming together and realizing that it's going to be okay, like, that's the best thing you can do. Alright, guys. Like, Yeah, I hope so. I hope so too. I hope we do move late Jan. That would be dope. I think that's typically what happens in the future. Just looking at it from a historical point, I did say on my stream on Monday that I just didn't think that history would repeat itself like this. There's a lot of people that think we are going to repeat the January squeeze. I don't think that's going to happen because it's too expected. And typically with stuff like that, I mean, remember, it's like reverse psychology. They'll make people think that, and then it doesn't go down, and then you've lost all your money on options. So. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that's the thing with people that are selling and buying. It's really hard for the ultimate goal, guys. Here, this is the ultimate goal of the hedge funds. Okay, they're obviously trying to short AMC to where they normally had it, to $1.90, and then keep on shorting it and do something like SOS, right? That is very unlikely, just because of how much retail actually holds this stock, and it's extremely hard to do that because when you don't have these shares, well, people are going to start asking like, hey dude, like, where are the shares that I let you borrow? Like, where are you hiding these shares? Like, I need my money, I need my shares. And when, like I said, when there's hype, this much hype and momentum with this stock, it's really hard to do something like that. That's why I think that even though they're trying to short it to where it is now, at some point, it doesn't matter. Somebody's going to buy those shares. Retail is going to buy it at a comfortable price. So it's always dangerous. It's very dangerous for them to bring it down super low because they know that there's going to be a surge of buyers coming in and bringing the price up, screwing them over even more. The red part? No. No, this is not my prediction. This is just, I was just saying that if we were to place some sort of double bottom scenario here, we would create this like larger picture W. So that's also likely to happen. And just based off of the technicals, that would be ideal. But remember, like I use the cycle, and then after I analyze the cycle, I'm able to make a better judgment on the TA itself. Extreme gains, crack the algo. Should check them out. I've already checked out Extreme Gains. Me and him we're at some point we're gonna get together to do a live stream together. So that'll be fun. Because I want to know his outlook on this, his perspective. Right? Everybody has all the YouTubers and Twitter dudes and stuff. Like everybody's looking at AMC in their own way, and that's fine. I want to know what's working for them, but you almost have to, like, we all have to come together and realize that if something is working out for somebody and there's some sort of correlation with their analysis, then we should come together and collaborate on that to find out exactly what's happening, right? The cycle that I have provided, that I have been tracking for the past 3 months, for me it's working. It's working to a T when it comes to these specific patterns that are laid out here. So like the blue pattern, the red pattern, the green pattern, the pink pattern, all of these different patterns are playing out identical or in inverse form. And the price movements, the spikes that you see, the up spikes and the down spikes, I mean, they're playing out. So if that is working for me, if somebody else wants to come in and sort of improvise this idea or whatever, then I want to hear that. I'm super down for that. It's all about coming together, guys. Like that's what this movement is. Like we're trying to figure out what's happening. Do I think we break 20? I really don't think so. Just because if we broke 20, like that wouldn't really be a double bottom anymore. That wouldn't look good. On a technical perspective, that just would not look good. If anything, we will get a bounce very soon. Like I would say around maybe the $21.50 area, if anything, and then we would bounce back and create, like I said, this double bottom George W on the macro level, and then just slowly, start continuing to go up. We're not gonna like do this, okay? Like that's not gonna happen. Another example, guys, of this is reverse psychology. Just looking at the Volkswagen squeeze, like people, in my opinion, people got to stop doing that. Like the Volkswagen squeeze is a representation of the squeeze, and it's very important to look at it from a history perspective. Like that's dope that it happened, because that's the reason we were able to sort of create this movement with GameStop and AMC. But it's not a good way to look at the technicals of it. Just because that happened with Volkswagen does not mean it's going to happen with AMC. And you also have to consider that the Volkswagen situation was a lot different. There is not a meme movement happening with Volkswagen. Chuck talked about me? Chuck. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names. Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. Hold up. Alrighty, I'm back. No, it hasn't. It really hasn't. Look, a good way to look at this, guys. Go on. I'm responding to Chris. He said, feels like the momentum has faded. I don't think so, just because of how many people are still talking about this stock. Go on Webull chats. That's a prime example of literally people back to back every minute. Less every 30 seconds, people will be posting about this. There's so much traction still. This isn't your typical stock where, even like you go on the Webull Spy sometimes and people won't be posting for like hours sometimes. You don't see that with AMC. There's a lot of movement on Twitter, on Reddit, Webull, everything. Everybody's talking about AMC. Yep, that is very true, Max Capital. Very true. That's exactly what they want us to feel, that the momentum is faded. And that's the whole point here, is to really just ignore the noise, guys. Ignore the noise. So this is the thing. Anybody can say whatever they want in the community, okay? People can say that there's been a lot of influencers that sometimes will create unnecessary, just unrealistic and unnecessary either hype or also FUD. Like, they will say something that is just not good. It starts stirring, drama in the community and stuff. And obviously, that's not healthy. We have to have a good outlook with AMC. But I don't think the momentum is faded by all means. if it does go to $10. Um, I really, I mean, this is the thing, guys. If it for whatever reason, if they do bring it down to like $10, which I just do not see that happening. It's very, very unlikely. The only catalyst, guys, for this would be like some sort of like market crash event. But you have to think about this. A market crash does not last one day. A market crash lasts years, okay? So we would have to have downward pressure for days, like continuous days. And you have to think about this as well, okay? Once you have a market crash, that is also a situation where AMC in the past has followed the SPY inverse. So the SPY will be literally going down while AMC is going up. And that's obviously a bullish case for AMC. Like if we for whatever reason get some sort of market crash that starts very soon, then yeah, we would get some downward pressure for a little bit. But once it starts establishing its own support and not following the SPY anymore, people are going to pick up on that, and it'll be very bullish. And not only that, but then the funds, the hedge funds that are short AMC and they're long the SPY and other stocks that they're long on, they can get margin called too and have to just literally liquidate everything they have, all of their assets. And that means short positions or long positions. And at that point, it will cause a reaction here. And that reaction is not going to be pretty because, like I said, once the technicals get set up and then, there's a market crash and then retail comes in because they're putting all their money literally in on these meme stocks, and that's typically what happens, then you will start to see the downfall of these hedge funds at that point. I mean, we can't really do anything. We have, obviously, social media to come together. I mean, that's been the ultimate leverage that that everybody in the community has. Obviously, like, we're able to push our word, our narrative out there with social media, and that's awesome that we have this tool to be able to help the community. But yeah, with that, everybody has to sort of come together, and it's happened in the past, guys. We've had situations like once we come out of this ugly mess that we're in, it becomes easier for people to just realize that we're in a good spot, we're in a good place. So it's just right now that might not be the case, but guys, soon it will be. And just understanding that is all that matters, guys. Look back at March 2020. What about it, brother? What about it? Lance, let me know what you mean by that so I can do it. Sausage and Ellie or Eli, or thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, anytime. Sonny, yeah, of course, man. I got you. So I'm going to delete this for a minute. Or not delete it, but just kind of hide it. So we seem to be in this sort of wedge pattern, okay? And right now, on a micro level, you can say we're trying to sort of continue this wedge that we're in. And it's possible we get something like this, right? I wouldn't say there's going to be another bottom here, but at this point, it would come back like this. The red pattern you just saw was if we did get this double bottom, then it would create, obviously, like this bigger George W. But right now, what I think is going to happen is we're going to sort of close in on this wedge. So something like that. And that would just be a scenario that I have, and that's according to this cycle that we're currently tracking, right? Because at some point, I do believe that it is going to play out inverse, and if it plays out inverse, well, that's upside, not downside. So keep an eye out for that. Oh, referring to the market? Oh, the market. I mean, I guess I can bring it in here for you, man. Oh, you're talking about the COVID crash? The little mini COVID crash? What about, oh, you want me to like compare this, bro? With AMC? I mean, I can if you want. Sure, why not? I don't like this color. Oh, whatever. Okay, the spy is orange, and you would. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm gonna put it in here anyways, just so you can see it. So this is not a crash though. This is a mini scare, and then bounce back to freaking all-time highs. Like, this was the biggest. Like, if you got in on this, man, oh my lord. You would have made some money. So, I don't know. I'm going to lay it out like this or something for you guys. Let's just say, let's just say that's the case, right? Something like that. And yeah, let's say we got another scare or whatever, right? I could see us like, if they did take us down to 10 or whatever, and we're following this sort of scare that they did back in 2020, then around this level, people would start to probably go in on AMC just because that's exactly what happened. All of these moves that you see major downside on the SPY for GameStop and AMC. They go up, the SPY goes down. See, yo. Lance, no problem, my guy, no problem. Do I think June? No. I don't. Not June. Volume is only a factor when we are in the setup, Justin. It's only a factor when we are in the setup. Because remember, when they bring the price down like this is where the heavy manipulation is happening. Not when you start to see upward momentum. That's when the machines can't take the volume anymore. When do I think? Duke, what up, man? It's going, bro. It's going. Just streaming, chilling. Oh, Chris, that's so. So obviously they both follow each other in similar structure. They do have slightly different cycles as far as when it comes to hedging, because with GameStop, sometimes you see a small delay in the way that few days in the way that they move. But yes, ultimately, once one triggers, the other one will follow. I mean, it shouldn't be a guessing game. Like something that I like to, or I guess the way I look at it when it comes to, like, for me at least, when the setup looks nice, then I start to think, okay, well, this is a good position for me. This is a good position for me to establish some shares or get in on some shares for me, right? Where do I think volume will come during the setup? So the volume is primarily going to come from the downfall of the smaller hedge funds, as well as retail, the FOMO. And that's what will trigger this giant squeeze, because at that point, once the larger institutions can't hold this volume, that's where all of these like synthetic shares will basically unfold, creating this giant squeeze. But yeah, ultimately you need volume. This is one way to look at it, right? Because I know that people have talked about, like volume means nothing, blah blah blah. You can say that as much as you want, okay? It's like that when you say that, it's like telling people not to buy options. Just because you told people that volume doesn't matter doesn't mean that they're not going to buy. I don't know why people are pushing that idea. I don't believe in that. I believe that volume definitely matters because it's just simple supply and demand when it comes to just stocks, guys. And we've seen this happen in the past too. Like when you have volume from retail coming in, you see it in the way the community is hyping this, this movement. And people, you can see that, man. Like back here, we had like a billion at some point, a billion in volume in just one day. So I definitely believe that retail coming in on the right setup is very important to trigger this. Matt Kors. I look like Matt Kors to you? Maybe. I don't know what ethnicity Matt Kors is. But maybe a little bit. I don't like I said, I don't like to stream with my with a webcam or anything. I think it takes away from the message that I'm trying to put out. And also it takes away from the room too, man, of the charts. What were the tools? So I have a program that me and my brother created. It's a time series program. So it uses something called the matrix profile to analyze a stock, or not necessarily a stock, any sort of data points that you have that create a pattern, and it will pick out these identical patterns in their own ratio. So you could have this blue pattern has its own ratio, it's larger, right? And the same ratio is going to repeat itself on a smaller time frame. So here you can call that a fractal, because if you take this bar pattern and just shrink it down like this, right? And then shrink it down like this to a smaller time frame, at that point that becomes a fractal because the time series has changed. So once you have these patterns that are being found on that level, you can also find similar patterns but on the same time series. So I use both. I'm able to find on larger level macros with the same time series, and then on different scales as well. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool program that we have. It's an emotional roller coaster. Of course it is, man. Of course it is. And a lot of people were asking about the song. Like, I wasn't specifically talking about AMC. Like, if people were losing money and stuff, I was using AMC to represent the cycle of emotions in the stock market. And I think it's a great representation just because of the way it's structured, where you would create these movements to the downside and then up and then down and then major drop. Like, it just made sense to make that. But if the price is decreasing, why would small hedge funds fold? Oh, no. They wouldn't. Remember, the thing to note here is retail would come in first, because retail sees the price favorable at these lower levels, like 20, whatever. If it, for whatever reason, comes down to 18 or whatever they have planned behind the doors, retail is going to see that as an opportunity. And clearly, at these levels, you're already hitting these fib levels that are important. So retail is going to come in there and put a lot of pressure. And then that's when long institutions come in too and are able to play this game as well, because hedge funds are not trying to help each other. They're against each other. So especially long hedge funds on AMC. So they're going to go in on these prices too, to also try and change the system, because they believe that it's unethical. They believe that these shorts got themselves in very sticky situations that they shouldn't have been in, and they're also trying to help the movement. Yeah, of course. Marky Mark, you're welcome, man. Are we planning on selling? So we're not planning on selling it or anything. It hasn't been basically created to do, like, it's not a set in stone program. We use Python and Jupyter to run these things. So you can run these if you have Python and Jupyter. I think at some point when we sort of polish this program, we might release it and do something with that. That would be kind of cool, because it literally, guys, I was able to find the blue pattern, the green pattern, all of these patterns that you're seeing, I was able to find with this program. Pretty cool. Novron the Great, you're welcome, man. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I love this. I love the chillness. I listen to very, very just lax, chill songs, man. Maybe we'll play some hype music when margin calls, right? Six Sun. I love the bananas, bro. Throw some bananas in the chat, huh? Can I sing an Adele song? You know what, dude? I actually back in the day, like I used to listen to this band, Dirty Loops, and they basically remixed Adele's like "Rolling in the Deep," like very funky. Dirty Loops, look it up, man. I would totally sing that for you in that cover, for sure. Taylor, you're welcome. Cybo, thank you, man. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do real quick is, just because a lot of people on Twitter are like super unsure of this cycle, and I just want to go over it real quick just so everybody's kind of familiar, or at least the people that are in here can familiarize themselves with familiarize themselves with the pattern, right? Hey, Casey. Shout out to Casey Shaw, man. Me and him are on a Discord together as well. Love you, man. But yeah, we're gonna go over this cycle, okay? So these patterns, the colors just kind of represent what's going on, right? You have your projector here shining the light. These two patterns are the same, by the way. And then the blue pattern just kind of represents the inverse version of what's happening, and what the algorithm is going to decide after this. And this represents basically the pressure that the algorithm has sucked in or already established to prolong this cycle, the cycle that's happening. So it's a 2-month cycle again, guys. I'm going to keep saying this until people understand that. A lot of people on Twitter were asking like, where are these dates coming from? Like, what does this mean? Like, where do you copy paste this through? Because I say literally you just copy and paste this through. It seems very, very easy to do. And almost like just, I don't know, it just seems too good to be true in a way, right? But it's not. It's not too good to be. It's working, guys. It's working. So we're gonna bring the patterns, right? Bring the patterns back. Here we go. Pattern. And let's add one more. Let's add one more pattern to the mix because we just found her, right? We found the pink pattern, which is very important now. Let's add her to the mix. So this pattern is tracking from November 3rd or 1st all the way through November 10th, and it's a pink pattern. So once we establish what these mean and what they are, we can kind of understand what is happening, like why they're doing this, why. We're going to do a little lesson here on the 62-day cycle. So I was waiting for the market to close, by the way, guys, to kind of go more in depth here with what's happening. But sorry, I'm like very, very OCD when it comes to these lines and stuff. All right. Yeah, Casey, no, you my guy, man. What are you talking about? You my favorite guy. Okay. So this is the projector pattern. These two. This is ultimately, it's only labeled in green because it's what reflected on this cycle. So this is very important because it's what created the cycle in the first place. This pattern is just important because it happened once throughout the chart, and it's where the algorithm decided to basically, I call it fail or succeed, but the algorithm failed to, or not failed, I'm sorry, the algorithm succeeded to be able to continue shorting the stock because there was not enough volume coming in. And you see this pattern right here playing out inverse too. So that's very, very important. What these mean, guys, again, the blue pattern is just a reflection of the June run-up, because once you have this volume that the algorithm takes in, it will repeat it throughout the cycle. You will actually find it, if you even go at the micro level, you will find these patterns playing out in smaller fractals just because the system is still trying to cover and short it at the same time. So you will continue to find these patterns, but they're important on a macro level in the same time series because of option expiration dates. And remember, if we look at the flag that I was talking about, so I'm gonna pull that up because that's very important to this, and it's why this cycle works in the first place. But let's go. I don't know what this did really, but I'm gonna try and fit it here to the screen. Sorry if it's not perfect. So this was, remember guys, the breaking flag video. All of these dates, okay? All of these dates fall on option expiration dates, okay? So if we look at the cycle, the 21-day cycle that's happening, not that one. Okay, I might not have the 21-day cycle set up on this specific chart here, but bear with me, okay? So it happened down here. They kept the price at around $20, and that's very important because when you're hedging these positions and you have a comfortable price to be at where you know that you're going to make money on the upside and the downside, you're going to try and keep the price there when the option expiration date comes. So all of these, look, these are quadruple witching dates on the bottom, okay? And these are monthly expirations. So monthly expiration dates are labeled in orange, and the quadruple witching are labeled in just white. All of these literally close in on option expiration dates, right? What was the price they were trying to keep here? $40. $40. $40. And then down here, they shorted it because the projector failed, and we closed in on the flag. So once you close in on the flag, and you can't do anything more on a technical level, and you have your setup, we failed that setup. And this is why I'm telling you the technicals in the end are going to matter. It all has to do with psychology, and this is what I'm saying. Once the technical setup is broken, then we have to look at the next technical setup, and that is something that's what I'm trying to track right now, is the technical setup, so that we can see what the next game is going to be. No, I'm not another flag, because we're not in a flag anymore. We broke down of the flag. Now it's a different setup. Whatever the next setup is going to be, it's going to be a psychological game again. But this, look at that. I mean, this is, guys, understand this. If you're a hedge fund and you're short AMC and you're trying to keep the price at $40 on purpose to hedge that position, you're going to close very, very close to these options expiration dates. You're going to try and get the price down there, right? It's the whole point. And I talked about this too when we ran up here in June. They were able to add these option expiration dates on the 28th of May. They added the $70 contracts and the 145s. And then what did they do? They shorted AMC. They shorted AMC, kept all the premium that people bought, $5 $145 contracts, and the premiums were like $5. So they kept all that premium, and they were able to short AMC with that money. Milo, thank you, man. Yeah, I try and keep the charts as clean as possible, just so everybody can understand what's happening. I don't use your traditional candles, and I know that pisses some people off, but this is just what works for me, and I hope it works for you. I hope that you guys can pick off on that. Thanks, Casey. Does my system find patterns in other tickets? Yes, it finds a pattern in any sequence you input into it. So we use Excel, so any data points that you put in there, you can use a heart reader or a heart monitor and use that, or you can use a sound wave on music, a frequency on music, or anything. Any data points that you input into it, this program will spit out these similar patterns. Yeah, no, I've done that in the past with... Here, let's take away this for a minute. There's a lot of patterns, guys, that look the same with AMC. I mean, there's so many. One of the ones that I look at a lot is actually, and this is gonna be a little funny, but I look at I look at Boeing. Boeing. You guys are going to be like, what the hell are you doing, man? But watch this. This is Boeing. Copy. Paste. And watch this. We're not going to use your traditional pattern here because we're actually going to flip it. We're going to mirror this pattern. AMC 2.0. There's a lot of patterns that look the same. This is, guys, this is not specifically talking about the manipulation happening. This is just the fact that the algorithms trade these patterns because of the technicals that they look at. So this is a very common pattern that you find throughout the entire market. It's not a new pattern. So yeah, you can look at ChargePoint. You can look at all of these patterns that look the same to AMC. But one thing to remember is that when you look at the similarity of patterns, that doesn't mean, specifically talking about other stocks, that doesn't mean that things we can read based off of what this is projecting. Like, if I really wanted to just say that we are going to follow what Boeing, is saying we're going to follow, then, I mean, bro, we would be tracking sideways until May, and I don't think that's going to happen. So that's why I personally like to just stay away from making predictions based off of other charts, because they have their own cycle. They're manipulated in their own way. I think AMC has its own cycle, right? And that's why I track the cycle that I have. The cycle that I have is what helps me. I don't think other charts are good for that. What's this program? Because it's not Paint. It's definitely not Paint, man. It's code. It's just code, man. Python code. Hell yeah, man. I'll listen to them. Thanks for the recommendation. It's an accumulation distribution pattern, right? So I don't. If I'm being completely honest with you, I look at things from a cycles perspective more than a Wyckoff's perspective. I am not as experienced as the guys that do Wyckoff and stuff, and I personally don't use Wyckoff, if I'm being honest with you, to make any sort of assumptions or anything on AMC. Just because, for me, at least, just for me personally, it's not something that I have found to be helpful in my opinion. Just the way I'm tracking AMC. So I'm sure that Wyckoff works with a lot of stocks, and it has worked in the past with a lot of stocks. But just with AMC specifically, I don't want to put that faith on it completely until there's some sort of confirmation on stuff like that. And then also, it doesn't, for me the Wyckoff method won't predict or won't line up with specific dates that are important to get these price movements. Because if you think about it from a Wyckoff's perspective, this would have been the spring. If you're analyzing the stock in that way, you would have said this was a spring. And the problem with that is that, well, now you think this is the spring, but it's not, because, well, we're down here now. So if it was the spring, it would have done something like this. Would have done something like that, right? And then continued to go up, and that didn't happen. So for me, it's not a reliable source when it comes to reading the charts, at least for AMC. I know that Wyckoff could work with a lot of other stocks, guys, but I just don't think it would work with something as manipulated as AMC. I like you, man. Grateful Wayne. I like you, man. Do I agree with Rico's predictions? I don't know. I haven't seen Rico's predictions as of late. Did he make a crazy prediction or something? I love my Rico, though. Rico is my guy. Me and him are like, whew, love that guy. He's the hype master. I always tell him, I'm like, dude, your energy, man, is what this community needs more and more. Is like, people is like, he has such good energy, man. If I was able to hype just the way he did, man, I don't know, be a different story. He said 400. He said 400 January 28th. When did he say that? If you can pull the receipts up for that, I want to know. Oh, yeah, he's saying... Yeah, no, Rico, both Rico and Astro, they're the ones that acknowledge my content from the start. And, yeah, I mean, we're on a Discord together, so that's pretty cool. And we kind of chat in there and stuff. And I appreciate those guys for that. Like I said, like, this movement just itself, like, you want to be able to have everybody come together and yeah, push his message out. Yeah, pull up those receipts, man, because I don't know if he actually said that. What's the data showing me? My guy Solid. The data is showing me. The data is showing me that we are nearing the completion of the cycle. So I'm going to come back to the cycle. And from the cycle's perspective, the data is showing me that we are tracking identical. But we have now crossed what is this basically starting to cross an inverse version of the pattern, which has me thinking that if it does cross that inverse, then we would start to see some sort of upside in the near future. And that's why I just believe that if we do get this, here we'll go here in the short. If we get a bounce right now, it would be perfect, man, because we would start to get this wedge, this larger wedge, which makes a lot of sense. And I'll tell you why it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because how they were able to do this with the big flag that we were in for the longest time. Remember, one of the best strategies that hedge funds are able to do is to make this thing just last forever, because it buys them time. It buys them time and the ability to basically blame this whole thing on something else. And that's, in my opinion, the ultimate goal is to blame this on something else. So when you create these patterns that people are talking about, like, hey, this looks like a wedge, right? Well, look at how big it is. What if they did this, man? I mean, they're buying themselves so much time here because they're creating a large wedge, just like they did back here. How many times did we break out of a flag and down, right? We broke 4 different times. We broke out of a flag. So they can do the same thing down here if they want to. If they have enough margin to do this, they will do it. Hey guys, anybody in the current chat, welcome. I'll be here for probably about another hour. So now that we've finished the day here, we can sort of start to see what's in the works, right? Here's a link. That Rico's vid. I mean, was that a recent video? Or was that something that he said like 2 weeks ago? Because, I mean, if he said that 2 weeks ago, then the stance might have changed. Yeah, but that vid was before we set this new trend. Oh, okay, yeah. If that video was before, then that's not really credible. Rico's my guy. Rico. Thanks, that Phrygian guy. I appreciate you. Some guy commented the other day. He was like, "What in the weird, like something?" And I'm like, "Bro, that's the point, man. I'm trying to, like, the songs that you hear are like on purpose made to sound the way they are. I mean, they're meant to be kind of weird and a little bit psychedelic in that sense, because we are dealing with a very strange stock, right? That's doing this, and I don't know. I think it kind of goes well with the just the overall message and just the overall idea and the channel. I don't know, man. Like, oh, 3 days ago he said that. I mean, dude, if he did say that, he said by January 2021 that we were going to 400. Rico. Well, I want to know more about that. I would like to know more about that, Rico. If that is the case, I want to know about it. Rico is funny, man, and goofy. I love him, and we're both Spanish. We share similar blood. So I told him, I'm like, dude, I understand some of the things that you say and the way you say them, because I mean we have a certain type of slang, just like us Spanish people. Like, obviously, we say things a little bit differently. Definitely a goofy. I didn't mean to move this. on purpose. Alright, whatever. We'll leave it right there. So I did a one of those Ancestry DNA, right? Ancestry DNA things, and I'm like basically 70% Spanish from Spain and Portugal, and the rest is just Europe mixed. O español. How do you know? What? Spanish, bro. That's Spain. I mean, yeah, you could say that in a way because it is on the Iberian Peninsula. Yo soy, pero sí, bien rápido, brother. Buen trabajo. Bye, papi, ¿cómo está? That's goofy. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, deep voice and squeaky. Yeah, I don't know, man. I got a range, I guess. I do a lot of falsetto and stuff on my songs. That's goofy. Yeah. Rico talks about the speed line, and if that goes past it, then we'll see the squeeze. Well, I have to look at that speed line then, because I mean the speed line theory has to do a lot with I think Bam's the one that created that, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't, like I said, I'm not an expert in that. I don't study the speed lines and stuff like that. Like I said, my thing is cycles, guys. My thing is specifically these beautiful 4 little cycles that I have tracked here. What we are going to call the 62-day cycle. Okay, that is my thing. I'll leave that guy right there. Would I agree with that assessment? The December 28th? It's just the thing is, guys, remember, even if you look at the past, that's the problem. Yeah, the past is a reflection of what's happening in the future, according to the cycle. But when you start to look at things, like, yeah, when you look at these patterns, right? Like I talked about this pattern and how it was basically a puzzle. And this is a fractal right here, guys, by the way. For those that are new, I talked about how fractals are basically these patterns on different time frames that look the same. So yeah, if you look at these patterns and start to sort of, you know, match them up in the way that they can look, sure, you can have a some sort of assessment, I guess, in how you predict the future, but that's not really the best reliable source, in my opinion. If we follow things in a cyclical way, then at least in the way the 62-day cycle is tracking, I think it just gives a good representation of like how things can happen, right? Because here, I'm gonna lay this out a little bit better for you guys, but if you just take, man, I'm so like OCD with this, bro, and like, or dyslexic is the word, I guess, where you don't like even know. I get so lost in like where things are. Yeah, I'm looking for the flags. Okay, here we go. Got it. Okay, so see how this goes up, right? And then you have your sideways trading right here. and then you have your downward pressure, right? If we look at this from this perspective, it might make a little bit more sense. But so as this cycle is being repeated in every 62 days, so from here to here, it's 62 days, and then you paste it again, starting on the same time frame, 62 days, 62 days, 62 days. Then you have this cycle happening, right? Now, the thing is, these can play out, like I said, inverse if they really wanted to. So you start to get this shift in the way this works. The shift is only inverse or identical. It's not, the patterns are going to stay the same, but they're going to play inverse or identical because it's the way it's structured that makes these patterns play out. So what could happen then is you get something like this, where here the cycle has now done something like this. So if you copy this, you can say that this stayed the same, and then now this guy came down here, and then this guy came down here, right? Because we're tracking this up here. So, well, I'm not gonna do it inverse. I'm literally gonna just put it up here for you guys. You know what I'm talking about. See how these are inverse to each other? This is downward pressure right here. This is upward pressure. Here it stayed the same. And then right here, you have this going up while this is going down. Right? So it's the same thing happening throughout the entire chart, but specifically to do with these micro level movements. So when you come in here, right, this is tracking identical. So from a more macro level, you can see how it's shifting, right? This is the inverse version of what's happening right now, right? Right? That's what I'm saying. All right, I gotta catch up on these real quick. I mean, what's next? I'm gonna say this. I really would like this cycle to play out. So in my opinion, guys, I'm gonna give you a better representation of what I think is going to happen. I'm gonna give you better scenarios once this cycle completes itself, because, for example, tomorrow is kind of an iffy day for me just because we have kind of this noise playing out. But then I want to look into, this right here. I want to look into next week. You have this spike, this major spike. Now, what I think is happening here is this was a level, the way it's represented in the charts. Back here, let's take these away. Too much going on. So, what do you think happened here, right? They shorted it. You got into a level that was very comfortable just in general. Just looking at the charts, you got it down low enough to basically get rid of what was this flag at the time, right? This nice flag. And then what happens here? Well, now you have created what you broke out of this flag. So it's really easy for hedge funds to start covering some shares here, and for the margin requirements to stay neutral. So they probably covered some shares here. They took the opportunity to, with retail, cover some shares and then bring it down again because, well, we broke out of this flag. This is not bullish anymore. So they're able to cover and then short it again. And a prime example of this is this larger flag, right, that we were in for so long. They did the exact same thing. Broke out of this opportunity, short the hell out of it. So now what we have to wait for is a retracement to the upside, because once we do that, it's going to be extremely hard for hedge funds to keep the price down even more. So I really want this pattern to just kind of continue its role and see what happens. And after that, we'll have a better, just a better way to see what's going on, right? Let's see. Man, my guy Chris Johnson, bro, in the chat. You going ham. You going ham in the chat. So it's not really code, it's just TradingView without the backgrounds? No, I mean, it's my setup. This is my setup. You can customize your TradingView however you want. So I did say I was gonna go live at 4. I went live a little bit earlier just because I wanted to clear up some things on Twitter, but kind of got carried away with the live. So if there is still people on by 4, like a good amount, and you know I'm still able to sort of spread this message out, then maybe I'll stay a little bit more. I know a lot of people like to stay afterwards, especially after, you know, a really crappy day. Buen trabajo, pues. Me encantan tus canciones. Dude, thank you. Appreciate it. Weeze out. Appreciate you. Eric, are we just trying to fit anything anywhere? Are we trying to keep ourselves busy? If we don't know what's the purpose of tracking anything. The purpose of this is, I mean, like I said, man, earlier I was saying that I do my analysis is on AMC only. I don't stay away from. I don't concentrate on other stocks right now, just because I want to be. What I'm pushing out is specifically AMC. I'm specializing in what's happening with AMC with my cycle, and anybody's able to jump in and help me out here, you know, with figuring out more and more every single day. The point is not here that everything's controlled, because it's not. It's controlled to an extent. It's manipulated. There's definitely a misunderstanding in the community in that sense that, oh, dark pools are controlling 100% of the price, and no, they're manipulating the price with how much they have available. Like, they remember these requirements that they have. Once they pass the threshold, it's impossible to manipulate the price at that point. That's why you have these giant moves happening, right? These run-ups. That's when they weren't able to keep the price down. So they're not tracking, they're not controlling everything. So it doesn't make sense that we shouldn't focus on this, because if we focus on this and we're able to tell people, hey, this is happening, well, then that's going to create bullish momentum, and that's a good thing, because we need volume. We need volume to keep the same structure, or to have a healthy structure with AMC, good technicals. Of course it matters. Yeah, we're learning, Eric. We're learning, like Chris said, we're learning to understand the patterns and how they're playing out. And guys, this is all speculation. Remember that. It's not. This doesn't mean that this is actually happening. It's speculation. If you see something happening in the market and it's repeating itself in this way, you can. That's the whole point of just technical analysis in the first place. Even though this is not specifically technical analysis, it's beyond that. You're able to look at it the same way, right? Because, I said yesterday that when you're given these tools, you don't have to just use technical analysis. You can flip things on a different perspective and sort of apply these tools that you've used to understand the system a little bit better. You think hedge funds use just technical analysis? No, I mean, they use everything else. They have algorithms, computers, pattern recognition tools and stuff that help them, do what they're doing right now. It's very important. All right, I'm gonna show you guys something just because I feel like there's a good amount of people here. I'll kind of pull it up. I don't know if the algorithm here is like take it. I don't know. The songs I'm playing probably have some sort of profanity, so they're definitely kicking some people out or something. Let's see. So I'm going to show you guys the projector analysis that I have. This is going to be extremely important, so listen up. Okay. It's just another way that you can look at AMC. And I posted this on Twitter. So make sure you like the stream, guys, because I really want people to see this in the way that I have structured it, because I think it's a really good way to look at AMC, and pretty excited about this. Yo. All right. So now that we got everybody in the chat, hello, new people joining the squad here. I'm going to show you something that I've been working on for a little while. So I did talk about, why the cycle works, right? If you guys saw that video, basically explains this projector analogy that I had playing out. So this specific pattern that we find here is what I call the projector. And I talked about this on that video. I talked about how we see these projectors constantly playing out that will shoot up this volume that's been collected. Now, these patterns don't have to make sense in the way that you're looking at them, okay? So these the lines that I have drawn here are specifically set up in the way the cycle is playing out. So if I bring the cycle here, these all line up. Where are these lines? 62. There we go. Okay, yeah. So these specific lines that I have, if you split them up into halves even more, because that's very important. Like you see these middle dates here, like October 15th and December 15th and February 15th. Those are the mid dates in between these options. So they're extremely important when building this sort of pattern structure here for the projector analogy that I have. So another way to look at it is with you can look at it with like literally origami, man. Origami is like dope when it comes to when it comes to stocks. So you get to look at things from a different perspective, right? Like the way I have this set up with these options and how these patterns are reflecting on each other, I made the analogy that you would have this pattern back here that is the it's the light source. It's what shoots in this volume to create what are these larger patterns that are playing out. Because in the event that you get unexpected volume, that's when the algorithm starts, right? Because it'll take that volume and sort of spread it out throughout the chart until it dies out. But when it doesn't die out, like a stock like AMC, well, that pattern is going to continue reflecting itself throughout the chart, especially when it's going up, right? When we started back here in November, the first spike, it was a couple dollars, like $5, and then it came down, and then $1.90, and then $25, and then $77. You have these repeating themselves in that way. So one way to look at this is this specific pattern right here is reflected on this sort of origami type of structure here. Like, you can do this on paper if you want, guys. It's the easiest way to like actually understand this. But this right here in fractal form, which means that if you flip this in fractal form, now you have to bring it down and then take the actual pattern and you're able to shrink it down, basically. So what happens here is that you get a mirror reflection on what is this right here, and it will ultimately be the same pattern in fractal form. So obviously it's not perfect, because with fractals when you're studying fractals and stuff like that, you do get a difference in the way things set up. And this is exactly why, guys, I don't like to use like specific studies with like fractals and stuff like that, just because it doesn't project the price action happening in the near future in that way, but it gives you a good representation of what's actually happening with the stock, which is fine. You can do that. So this I would lay out here just because it would be this. If you take this pattern right here and fold it, you get, right, if I was able to do something like that, which you're not able to do it on TradingView, but you get, if you kind of understand what I'm talking about here, if you bring this like that, I'm able to do this in Premiere. I should probably show you guys Adobe After Effects in Premiere because I'm able to do it. This will paste right over here, right, the specific pattern. And then this is where the projectors line up. And I don't think that's coincidence either, because, well, you have this projector lining up in the same structure that is being repeated here. And these are all lined up with options and stuff. So I have a reason to believe that in some way this has to do with the price action that's happening, because it plays out back here as well. One of the patterns that I look into a lot that got sort of mixed in this this smaller fractal here, I look at this pattern a lot specifically because this is what basically shot this volume through these lenses in a projector, and it in ways that you can look at this in the market is just means that the volume here was extremely important, that it had to be shot up in some sort of way to create this longer pattern, just because it was favorable to the algorithm. So this is extremely important. But it's just another way to look at the stock. It's a bullish way to look at the stock and understand that there's something going on here. Let's see. But yeah, I will take any questions or any inputs if you guys wanna put your own input on this specific. This is not something that is completely done yet. I'm not finished with the whole idea. It's just one way to look at it. But for me specifically, the way the cycle works, I've already proven to the technicals that they use. I've proven it with the patterns that are being replicated every 2 months. And that's what I'm using right now. But I'm working on this. I'm working on something else that is able to prove just the cycle even more. Like, I want to prove it to the point where, like, the system can't fight back and say, no, you're wrong, like, or you're just assuming all these things and they don't mean anything. But no, we're gonna get to the bottom of this because it's not fair. and like, we're not gonna let that happen. All right, I'm gonna catch up on some of these real quick. Is this my music? No, this is, right now we're playing The Last Shadow Puppets. This is a Alex Turner project. So the guy from the Arctic Monkeys, he has a side project with Miles Kane. And they do like Baroque pop, I think is what it's called. So it's like classical orchestra music with rock. It's really, really nice. Max Payne is still 27 for the week. Max Payne, I'm very iffy about Max Payne, guys, just because, like, remember, like, at some point, these things do tend to just fail. They just fail at, like, if you were to buy some options or something for Max Payne and you want to play a specific option that will play in your favor if it stays at 27 or whatever. The Max Payne rule has worked in some instances, but it doesn't always work. So I'm very, very skeptical about using something like that to be making the price predictions for that or anything. They can manipulate to. And Andre, I don't. I get what you're saying, man. Like they can manipulate. Yes, that's very true. Because some people take that specific news to be uh, bearish, right? And sometimes like they're able to play this like that reverse psychology game where like they make you think that they're closing their positions out when they're not, and then they are. Like, I mean, dude, it's crazy how they do it. It's crazy how they do it. Uh, you guys for coming here on time. Yeah, yeah. Welcome, welcome. Luco, what do I think of the overall markets? I think so. I guess I'll go a little bit off track just to answer that, because I mean, ultimately, guys, a crash would definitely affect AMC in the short term. I don't think it would affect it in the long term though. Like, if something were to happen and they brought us down to like 15 or whatever, I think we would have a strong bounce back after that. If the market kept going down, I think we would be going up. In the short term, it might, but not in the long term at all. And so, I guess going off of that, I think right now there seems to be a lot of uncertainty in the market, of course, and a lot of people saying it's going to crash, this, and that. I don't think if there was some sort of pullback from the SPY, here, I'll bring it up. I guess if there was, for whatever reason, some sort of pullback in the near term, which like I said, guys, it's at a point where like they almost want you to reach a psychological level, to, because I mean, look at how many different drops there have been, like over and over and over again, where there just hasn't been a significant one. This I don't think is going to continue. Like, I don't think this is going to be the start of the crash or anything that people are expecting, because it's, like I said, it's too expected. You have to think like that, I feel like, in the market, where things are just too expected to happen, especially in the beginning of the year, guys. If we were to have some sort of market correction in the near future, and it would happen like this first, and then we would create some sort of upward trend again, and then we would drop. Remember, because market crashes last years. They don't last weeks. You might get this downward pressure for like a couple weeks, but after that, if it continues to go down, then yeah, that would be, for me, that would be the signal that there is a market crash. So right now, I'm not looking at that as I'm not looking right now in any way that we're gonna have a market crash like soon. No, I don't think so. Little David, I sound like Little David. Dude, I get that a lot, man. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why like people think that I sound like Dave. And I mean, I guess we have like similar, maybe like similar vibes in the way that we talk, or like a similar uh vocal, I don't know what to call it, like a vocal stretch or something. I don't know what the term is for that. Um let's see. Casey Shaw, favorite group. I'm sure you have many, and it's okay. Yeah. No, for sure, man. I like Arctic Monkeys, MGMT a lot. Those are my top bands. They're modern bands, but they are inspired by older music. So like early 70s, late 60s, Beatles type, Beatles like psychedelic phase, as well as like Pink Floyd, the psychedelic phase. Like MGMT is like very, very inspired by that. A lot of people know MGMT based off of like like Time to Pretend and Kids. Like those are the like the more like mainstream like songs. But if you listen to like their lower key albums, like Congratulations, those songs are very, very very, very just different, completely different, and I appreciate that from them. So yeah, MGMT is probably my favorite band. For anyone asking. Chris Johnson. Hey man, I mean if you guys want to help in that, remember for me the ultimate goal is the movement and spreading some sort of light as to what is happening. If we see something happening in this way, then I think people should know about that. I definitely think people should know about that. I'm just trying to spread some love, man. Like if I'm able to help you with this, like if this is able to help you in some way, then I've done my part. That's my goal. My ultimate goal is to help anybody that jumps in here and wants to learn a little bit more about how AMC is being traded off of the speculation that I have. Then great, dude. I love that. Pip Ray, yeah, Broken Bells, awesome band, man. Love them. And the Shins, yes, the Shins are dope. Frederick, where do I see this going tomorrow? So, like, I do have this this sort of structured here. If we continue to track this cycle, today it seems like halfway through we did play out this. We started to at least play out the inverse version of the pattern. So as you can see, like all of these followed basically the same way. Here, I'll pull it up just to do a little recap here. So that is the pattern that we're currently tracking. Stretch it down a little bit so you guys can see the price action. So yeah, like you can see your down movement, sideways up. All these are following literally on the same time frame going up. This one was a little bit late, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes that happens. And typically when this is a signal to me, just because when you start to see it play out a little bit late, and I'm talking like minutes, like 30 minutes to an hour, that's when you start to see this reversal. And I've seen that a lot with all these other patterns that are happening. So this has me kind of a little bit bullish in the near term, just because if we are tracking this for whatever reason, inverse, then we might see a little bit more downside, like this pattern inverse. Let me go ahead and just flip it real quick for you guys. So this is on the 3 a.m. and I always keep it on the 3, just so you guys know what's happening. 3. Then if we did start to track inverse, which, wow, okay, we are tracking inverse now. Okay, look at that. Look at this. Bam, right there. You can see it right there. So what this means is we might get a little bit more downside. This pattern right here, guys, that it doesn't mean that we're going to go down here, by the way. This is just, I'm putting it side to side so you can see what's happening. See how this pattern right here is reflected on a mirror down here, right? So what this means is that just the way I have studied the cycle and how I've learned that it works is that once you start seeing these patterns play out in inverse form, because for the past 2 weeks, guys, it's been playing out identical, and a lot of people have thought that it's going to keep doing that. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that in no way is this going to continue to do that. If it starts to flip, we might see some sort of sideways trading and then go into the upside. And what this tells me is that we might get this bounce shortly, maybe late on Thursday or midday on Thursday, bounce back a little bit, create some sort of sideways pressure, sideways trading, I'm sorry, and then slowly start to go up on what this larger wedge is saying, right? This is always very, very sticky with me. This pattern always seems to play out in just like there's so much noise here that you almost start to see like boring pressure on to the upside maybe, and then back here You see like boring pressure. See? It's up, down. Here it's just up, sideways. Nothing crazy. In between though, you have your pink pattern. Right here, you have, well, this was already them covering this back here, so you had already had some major pressure back here. So just from the looks of it, it seems that we could have some sort of major pressure to the upside or the downside, depending on what the algorithm is going to follow. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Green tomorrow, Matt Green tomorrow. I don't know, man. Like I said, we're just gonna track the cycle. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, I do give daily updates on that every day at around 11. I post the cycle update, so feel free if you haven't already. I link it on my YouTube, by the way. If you go on my YouTube channel, it'll be on the right. As you're looking through the videos, the link should be on top of the banner displayed there for you. Milo, dude, I appreciate that a lot, man. I'm happy to help wherever I can. And that's thank you, my dude. I appreciate it. $111. It was brutal watching that happen and not selling. Let me catch up to that because that sounds interesting. Oh, you're responding to Simon. Okay. Yeah. No, you guys are good. You guys can talk to each other. It's all good. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I hope I'm onto something. Until, guys, like I said, until this cycle starts to track differently, because I know, and I'm saying this now, I know at some point it will, and to me that is going to be bullish. Why? Because once this cycle completely breaks out of what has been happening, then I know that we are moving to another cycle, that we're starting another cycle, and the way we're going to see that is on the next projector. Once the next projector plays out, the cycle will stop, because once the projector knows that it has to move on and resort to something else, that means that we're going to obviously go to the upside or create the next leg up or squeeze ultimately, which is the goal. And at that point, the cycle obviously is going to change because they're dealing with a lot more volume and just different price action. So at that point, we're going to see a different cycle play out. And then after that, obviously, I'm going to find that cycle if we're trading, at 500 or 1,000 or wherever the heck we go on the move up, on the crazy move up. Awesome. Dope. I guess I can catch up on some other stuff here. So, yeah, I guess we will leave that guy there. Maybe go back to the projector analogy I had here. I didn't finish on that quite yet. But yeah, basically, guys, this is something that I've been looking at, and I'm willing to take any sort of comments or whatever input on this. I was actually planning on shortening out this larger, or connecting these a little bit different in a way, just because if obviously, like, history doesn't have to repeat itself in that way, and you could see these are lined up with the expiration dates in their own log form here, and it just seems very likely that if you were to fold these completely, just like origami, that these do line up with each other, these projector patterns. Now, the projector pattern being down here in larger form in no way means that we're going to squeeze like we did back here. It just means that we're setting up for the next cycle, the next algorithm. which is just it's a good sign, guys. That's always a good sign. What do I think the bottom is? So I had said like what I think the bottom is I would really like to think that the bottom is right here, man. Like how we went down to 20. The thing is, there's always a possibility that we go down just a little bit more. If we do, even if we go down, guys, to 19, worst case scenario, I don't know, like they can do something kind of like this, you know? We're back here. We went all the way down. We went down first to this level, and then they brought us back down here, right? I mean, that's always possible. And then you can get your, with the Wyckoff, like coffee and say, right? The spring or whatever. You can get that down here and then move to the upside. That's always possible. But in no way do I think that we are going to just like shoot down and then go to like $15 and then just it's over. No, definitely not. If we do get downside, it'll be this week and then that's it. In my opinion, if we do get downside, this will be the last week. We're going into next week maybe, but after that, I do not see any more downside. So if they're gonna do some damage, it'll be done now. There's no way they can keep doing this. Absolutely no way. The whole gap to fill thing is also a psychological tactic as well, guys. The whole gap fill. On a technical analysis part, just the way you look at things, the whole gap fill thing makes absolutely no sense. It's just a reason to it's a reason to manipulate the stock. If you push this narrative out there and tell people, hey, you basically started a trend. You started a gap fill trend, and now people have to follow that trend because everybody believes that trend. So that's not something that I would use to, you know, to say that we're going to go down to that price or anything. But unfortunately, once the trend's out there, it almost applies to these rules, right, that people are using. I mean, that's what I'm saying, man, with stocks. It's just crazy. Like, you think about it, like, we are literally analyzing just lines, like, all the way through. Like, bro, I'm looking at just lines. That is what I do, and I love it. Freaking love it. Bitcoin's dropping right now? Let's see. So you guys won't see me posting this on my channel for a while. I'm literally posting AMC every single day until I see something happen. But I am going to just load up Bitcoin real quick just to see what's happening, because people are saying that it's going down. Why do I have Doge? Oh, you guys want something funny? I was looking at Doge the other day, and I was just playing around with it, but I found this to be kind of goofy. This right here, this is AMC. It's like, this is why it's relevant. It's relevant because this pattern right here is AMC. This is November 2020, and that's that pattern that Rico was looking at. He was looking at this for that he thought we were here or something. So I took this and I was like, dude, I don't know why, but like, this looks a lot like Doge. Oh my, yo, no way. No way. Guys, somebody clip this, because I literally just jumped on this chart and look at this. Look at this price action. It's literally following the AMC like structure here. What the heck? Yo, that's weird. That is so weird. Okay, see, guys, Doge is another just like crypto. Obviously, is not a stock, but it is another crypto that I believe is highly being manipulated. Highly. Wow, this is insane. Yeah, this is Doge. I do a lot of analysis on Doge and Bitcoin, but I don't post on it or anything. Just because like I said, I want to keep the community, just specifically on AMC for now. But this has to do, guys. This has to do with AMC, so that's only fair. If I'm comparing AMC with Doge, it's only fair. Wow, this is incredible. Stitch this, guys. If this plays out, yeah, you like 1,000%. The system is like, wow, impressive. That's super weird. I mean, whoever brought it up, man, thank you for bringing that up, because I would not have checked this chart. I did this a while ago. I don't remember how long I did this, but this has been here for a little bit. Look at that. These movements are just identical. Down, up, down. Wow. Yo, what the heck, man? I'm like, this is unbelievable right now. I'm actually like shaking a little bit that this is happening. Well, I mean, guys, if you're on Doge or whatever, I mean, why not use this, right? I'm low-key gonna... Wow. Wow. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this real quick. This is incredible, okay? Incredible. And the only reason I have this, guys, is just because it's AMC, okay? So I know, there's that cancel culture and stuff. They'll pick up on anything. They'll be like, hey, man, you said this, and you're not doing it. Well, I am doing it. This is relevant. Very relevant. Let's give a good old yeah, no, I'm gonna avoid crypto, definitely. I'm just wowed right now. That's all. I am shocked. I'm like a little scared, but whatever. All right, let's ignore this for now and go back to good old AMC. Yo. Oh my lord, this was so long ago. This was just one thing real quick, guys, that I did want to show you is the Bitcoin chart. Oh, what happened to my Bitcoin chart? The heck, dude? Okay, I guess, bro, I had a Bitcoin chart. Okay, I don't know what happened to it. But somebody was asking about Bitcoin, and I wanted to talk about it because the Bitcoin chart, you can actually, there's a really weird way to actually have predicted, not specifically to the date, but the range of when the January run-up happened. And I had that analysis, but I don't know what happened to it. That is so weird that it just like disappeared. And I guess I did one on Mara too. But whatever. I guess we'll get to that another day. Let's go back to Amy, because I miss Amy. What else should we cover? Oh, yeah, we can cover this. This is also something else that's really interesting. That might kind of get you guys a little hyped too. So what you're looking at here is the fast Fourier transform. You can also use wavelets. It's another way to study charts. But basically, what this does, I'm not trying to do any specific scientific I'm not trying to do that right now to you guys. But I just want you to see the similarities here. So what the fast Fourier transform, real quick, is just it's a way to decompose a sound wave or a frequency. So a lot of sound engineers will use this to basically filter out this pattern, this large pattern, and find mistakes within that pattern. So it's very important when you start decomposing these, because you start to find these frequencies that are lining up with the entire chart, right? So this is AMC up here, and the fast Fourier is not applied to this. It's applied to the other ones down here according to their individual frequencies that I've applied here, that I've used. So this is freaking awesome. Why? Because it sets up the cycle movements that are happening, and it sets them up to it. Like, watch this. This is another way I was able to construct. This is one of the tools I use to construct the cycle that I have now. If we open up this right here, this is one. By the way, guys, is the music too loud, or is it good on the background? I don't know if it's loud or anything, and if it is, I can turn it down a little bit. It's good? Okay, cool. Awesome. So this is one way that we are able to see these, basically these frequencies that you can deconstruct with a low pass and a high pass filter. And you can apply this with music, guys, because with music, when you equalize a sound wave or something you recorded, sometimes, the lows are too high, or the highs are, they're too high as well. So what you do is you take an equalizer and you're able to move around and cut these frequencies out to make it more appealing, right, to the ear. So that's the same thing with charts. With charts, you're able to decompose them in a way where once you find this like cyclical movements, this specific cycle that's happening. For example, the one that I currently have, that's like a sine wave, right? Like you have this sine wave that's passing through. And within that sine wave, you have these imperfections, so these spikes that are happening. And that's signaling that on a specific time frame, you get, right, these similar patterns playing out because of the cycle, right? Because of the cycle. So this is a really, really nice tool to use when you're able to, when you're trying to know where these imperfections are coming from, right? This specific range right here goes this, like, literally ties in with like the 62-month cycle that I have. It's like played out for you. And not only this one, but there's all of these. All of these are in their own specific way. And if you try and compare them to the actual cycle, well, what do you get, right? Because when you bring the cycle back, Watch this. I mean, this is like the only proof you need, guys. Like, this is like the only proof that you need here for that. Remember how I said that these cycles play out inverse? Well, watch this. This specific pattern right here is the inverse version. The fast Fourier is literally telling me that my cycle is inverse to what's happening. Literally. Like, that's all you need for that. All you need for that. I'm going to take this bars pattern just to show you. Prove it to you guys. Right? So we have this right here. All we have to do is flip it. Or mirror it, I'm sorry. Upside down. There it is. Bam. We just take it down, 7 o'clock. Make sure I don't move from there. It's the same. Bam. Bingo. Fast Fourier transform, guys. So I use this a lot for that. Something that I pushed in on Twitter as well. I don't know. I think the problem is, like, when I do these things and I try and push them out, I feel like I don't know. Like, again, guys, I don't know the community. I don't know how it works or anything in the way that people sort of takes certain information. But I don't know. Like, if people see that there's something attached to this, maybe the way I'm doing things, like if I'm doing things with music or something, I know, like, not everybody is going to appreciate that, you know, the whole music aspect of it. And they might kind of want to, you know, they want to see somebody else who's just specifically trying to analyze what's happening with AMC. But I think the reason I attach music to it is so that it makes it a little bit easier to understand and a little bit more engaging in that sense, that where you're able to kind of see things from another perspective and be like, okay, that makes sense, you know, it's happening. So, but I know, you know, like, some people don't like that, and I don't know if that's like the main reason why it's like not being pushed or anything. But I mean, I think this is very relevant, man, to the cycle. I really do. Yes, please do that. Fourier, this is Fourier transform is used commonly throughout stocks. A lot of people use the wavelet transform as well. They work a little bit differently because that one has what is this basically it has two roles in the way it, like, deconstructs the wave. It uses a female and male approach is what they call, and these approaches are basically, they do their own thing and then they come together. So that the male approach deconstructs it in one way, and then once that's done, the female will do the same thing, and then they'll combine that information together to even get, like, I think, more specific in the way things work. But I'm more familiar with the Fourier transform, so I'm definitely gonna read more into the wavelet transform and see what happens. Yeah, this is my girl Natalia. This is highly inspirational for me. This music, it's like Spanish, dope. Let's see. Is that Mr. Pink? Yeah, it's Mr. Pink. What up, bruh? The pink pattern. I mean, honestly, like, what else do I call it at this point? Because it's like, if I'm going to call something the blue pattern, instead of, you know... I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, Neil. and that's why I said I didn't want to do a science class or anything like that. I wanted to show you just visually, right? Visually show you what's happening. Like if you see that these patterns are being replicated in that way here, then there's something going on, right? Something that like, and this hyped me up for a little bit. Okay, I'm not this. Don't push this out, please, because this is not at all what I'm saying. But I saw. So remember, these are laid out on different frequencies, so they will decompose these frequencies on different levels. So you can see back here, I'm using 1,024. What do you call it? 1,024 bars within this 2-hour frame, and down here, I'm only using half of that. So you're able to get a better picture of what's happening in that specific time frame. And something cool that you can do is, well, here you can see that this cycle pattern, it was flipped over down here, right? And these are very important when it comes to cycles as to why I think my cycle works. But you can do it on a smaller time frame and sort of decompose other cycles too, which is cool. Just like this played out to the upside here, and then it fell down here and created this pattern. Well, if you open up on the smaller time frame and take this down here as well, and then just flip it or mirror it, like they mean like the exact same thing, dude. The cycle picked up that there was a difference within the frequencies at this level for whatever reason, which had me like really pumped, because I was like, dude, like, why are we flipping on this side and stuff, and then we go up, right? But remember, when you are looking at, well, not remember, because I'm literally teaching you guys this, but when you are looking at the Fourier transform, this is not the pattern that's being played out. This is just signaling where these frequencies are correct or where they're incorrect. So what you do is, like, when you take the actual, bars pattern, you see that these are playing out either in identical form or not, right? And right here, you can see that we went to the upside, and that's why it played out this pattern down here, because it said, the machine said, hey, this specific pattern that is playing out seems to be extremely similar or inverse to what's happening back here. And that's where you will get these according to their time frame. But the only reason I didn't see this as like a bullish thing was because these are inverse to each other, and these are not. These are identical. So to me, that doesn't signal that we're going to do the same thing just because it's playing out identical. Like, we went down. We went to the downside, not the upside. So. Do I have a Spotify playlist? Yes, I do. If you go, you can go on any of my videos and click on, I have a Spotify page. I mean, I have my own Spotify artist page, and then within that page, I should have like 3 playlists. Yeah, dude, I would love to collaborate with Trey. I love Trey. He was the first guy that I started watching. So definitely a lot of throwback to those times, man. Like, he's basically what started the whole AMC movement. I know the Roaring Kitty was the one that kind of unfolded the whole thing with GameStop, but Trey was the one that shed the light with AMC. So that guy is, he pushed the narrative out there with being able to do that through YouTube. He started the movement. Yes, he did. Even, it doesn't matter. Like, if somebody finds the information out on Reddit and then posts it later, and somebody else pushes that movement, obviously he still gave credit to that one dude. I forgot. It was a Twitter guy that kind of started the whole thing. But the Trey was able to push this information out and create that, the necessary hype. And that's why it's very important that, with the amount of hype there is right now with AMC, guys, that the community keeps doing what it's doing. Because, like, if you think about it, if everybody just stopped doing, like, YouTube videos and posting on Twitter and stuff, well, the momentum's going to go down, obviously. Like, there's a reason why we keep doing what we're doing is to keep the momentum going. Keep the hype going. Let's get away from this. Open up AMC again. This is another way I looked at it here. These aren't specific in any way. Some of these are shrunken just so you can see the perspective of it. But this was another way to look at the, let's see. Yeah. Just another way to look at this projector analogy that I had. And I had labeled these two as well with, like, on what they meant, the components. There you go. So this was the light source back here. Let's see. Wait, hold up. Let's just put a easy bars pattern here for you guys. I'm showing you guys all my secrets. So yeah, the light source, remember, is like what starts everything. So when you're shorting AMC, and then all of a sudden you get this unexpected volume coming in, the algo starts to freak out, and it's like, what am I gonna do? Then you get your hype, right? So these aren't lined up perfectly, guys, because I was doing a little bit of editing and stuff. But the condensing lenses here within the projector are what I call the projectors. So these would shine the light, right? Where it would be a test and then shine or project all of this volume to the next, right? These next mirrors that are bouncing off of each other to essentially provide this volume. And me just labeling these as like components within like a projector was just creating the analogy for you so you could understand how a cycle works, how within a projector, how things are happening, right, within a projector. All right, let's answer some questions now. Cycles. Oh, yeah. I was going to talk about this, too, at some point. All right. Shane, I'm sorry, man. Sorry if you missed the chat earlier. I didn't really give out like really any scenario. I said I was gonna wait a little bit until the week kind of did its thing, just because we were tracking that pattern, that red pattern. Identical, I said that we were at a point where we could start to see a reversal just because the pattern was almost like merging into its inverse form. And the inverse form, obviously, of the pattern is bullish. So we're just going to see what happens. In between, guys, you can also see the inverse happening and then also the identical form play out right after. Like sometimes you get these like little spots in between where that happens. So we got to be careful. All right. These patterns right here are all 3 cycles. If you guys want to screenshot this, go right ahead, because this is probably the most useful thing to people that are still a little bit skeptical on like how it works and why it's tracking and everything. So I'm gonna update this December pattern that we're currently in. So where is December? Okay. I put everything here in the middle just so it can make sense, but whoops. November 15th. Oh yeah, here. Oh, what am I doing? There we go. So that's December. As you can see, guys, I don't see how I don't change anything. It's the same pattern at 3 a.m. until now. I'm gonna delete that, and then all I do after that, so 16:30, is I just make it fit, which doesn't change the ratio. The ratio is the same. That's important. It's just so you guys can see what's happening, right? You don't want, the original form of this because it's gonna cover the whole screen and then you won't be able to study it. Hold up, guys. I'm gonna. So this is a representation of every 2-month cycle that's happened on AMC, starting from June, going to August, October, and December. So everything you're seeing here is the entire chart. As reference, I'm gonna just go back just so you guys know what I'm talking about. But as reference, we are going to go back to May 13 here when the thing started, and this entire thing right here is split up. It's just you're seeing it in individual, right? We're dissecting it. So I'm just gonna put it here for reference so you guys know what I'm talking about. Actually, I'm not gonna do that because people coming in are gonna be confused. For those of you in here who know what's happening, so at any given point, you can track not only this is the most reliable one because this is where everything comes from. This is the mom right here. This is mommy, and then these are the kids, right? These are all kids. And then daddy's coming later, so we're waiting for daddy. Let's see. So yeah, this is the blue pattern right here. And then you have your red pattern as well on this area. This is the one that this is the best pattern because it's the one that sort of makes this whole thing valid, very valid, just because of the way these patterns repeat themselves. And they all are in the middle of the cycle, according to those option expiration dates, right? So if we can look at, where we're currently at, we're right here. We already passed the previous projector, which was the only projector in the whole cycle that I can see from, apart from the June projector, right? So something to note is that yes, we are currently tracking this June pattern, but at any given point, we can start tracking, the October pattern or the August pattern in inverse form too. So we do have to look into that. But right now, the most valid for us is going to be this June pattern that's playing out. And yeah, this is just a representation of that, guys, just so it can make a little bit more sense, to you guys. But yeah, it's just like, man, the blue pattern always just makes me feel some sort of way. Because, man, these movements are like to the T, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy how identical these are. Can I post this on Twitter? Yeah, of course, man. I'll take a screenshot and post it for you. Good idea. Good idea. I think it would definitely make people feel a little bit better. A lot of people, I feel bad because a lot of people on Twitter were saying how they thought it was going to go down because of like what I posted. And I was like, I felt kind of bad because I was like, oh man, like I should have, I did clarify in the way I described that pattern and what it was doing. And I always say, guys, it could play out inverse. So be careful. Like, and none of this is financial advice. Like this is my speculation of it. And you guys take that however you want, but I'm never telling you to do anything. So I'm just trying to help. And so I'm gonna say, like, specifically, like, this is why we could play out inverse, right? Like, here it's going to the downside, back here it went to the upside, and then right now we're tracking the downside. So also has me a little bit like skeptical, right? Because it's like, why are we tracking towards the end of the cycle? Why are we tracking the downside? If back here we went down, we went down, we went down. Here we went up all 3 times. And then starting what was the end of the blue section, going into the red section, we started to trace downwards, which has me like, well, what the heck does that mean, right? What does that mean? I have to watch my friend, bro. Like, this is my job. I have to do it. I have to watch it. Yes, I have, Chris. I would do, in the past, I don't do it so much anymore just because I don't do it as much anymore just because I'm not at a comfortable level of doing stuff like that right now, just because of the current setup is a little bit sketchy. But I remember back here in November 15th. Where's November 15th? Okay, November 15th was right here. This, I still remember this date because I was able to come up with basically this. I was working a lot with fractals back before I had the cycle, the current cycle that I have now. I worked a lot with fractals, and I did a lot of different calculations with finding like specific patterns that were playing out throughout the chart, and I was able to come up with something that made sense with this specific pattern, this August to November pattern, or September. I'm sorry, this is September 15, not November. September 15. And I was able to come up with something that worked, and I was excited about it. But after it failed me, I was like, I'm not going to do that again. So sometimes you are going to be right with fractals in the short term. But I haven't used that. I haven't used that since this cycle came around. This is what I've been using. I'm not being a negative Nancy, bro. I'm just being real, dude. Being real, and I am not. I never hype the stock downwards ever. Like, so don't say that, because I don't. Like, even, bro, if I ever say like this is why. But like, I never give financial advice. Like, I never say any predictions. I'm never like, hey, we're gonna go here or whatever. I always give you the outlook of it. I give you scenarios on what could happen, but I never ever say that it's going to happen, and I never will. I'm over that, dude. That causes too much pain. Not just with me, but just in the community, with people losing money and stuff. And I don't want to be responsible for that. It's not the goal here. Oh, you're talking to the guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I haven't read that. I mean, let's be nice. Let's be nice in the chat. But all I'm saying is, like, if you're gonna talk to that guy, just make sure you tag him or something, cause like, or like, tag him and talk to him or whatever. Or else I think you're talking to me. That's funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bruh. There's no cycle, bro. It's nonsense, Mark. You can think whatever you want, brother. If you don't think there's a cycle, then go watch somebody else who's not doing this. Because if you're watching this channel right here, I'm doing cycle analysis. I don't do anything else, so it's all good, bro. I'm not talking any crap or anything. I'm just saying, I'm telling you straight up, like, if you're gonna watch, or if you join this for whatever reason, I don't know if you're trying to, like, I don't know what you're trying to get out of it, but I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm doing cycles. I'm not gonna do anything else. You're interested in my perspective? Okay, well, I mean, if you've been tracking me, Mark, I highly encourage you to look at my previous videos, because I talk about everything in those videos. I talk about how this cycle came to be. I talk about how I think the system manipulates the stock with options, how they manipulate the system with the psychology of technical analysis. I don't push the idea that we have to be in a technical analysis, or like we have to follow the technical analysis, because that tends to play out the other way a lot of the times. And I highly believe that, because I pushed the whole flag thing, the giant flag that we were in for like 6 months that we broke down. That's the perfect example right there for you, man. That's why I don't like doing that stuff. Yeah, cycle, Wyckoff, fractals, they're all related with each other for sure, 1000%. It's just what tools you use best to make these your own predictions, not something that you're going to push out, but like what you believe in. What are the best tools for that? They all go hand in hand. Ultimately, what Wyckoff is ultimately what it is just it's the behavior of how people are trading based off of these technical levels that are being met and replicated in their own ways, and these fractals that are coming up. The only thing I don't agree with Wyckoff is that it's able to predict movements happening on the spot. Okay, I was doing my own thing, like I said, studying fractals before I was doing the cycle back in before we did June. I was literally looking at that stuff, and it worked for me to a certain extent, but it didn't work for me all the time, and that's the problem. When things don't work for you all the time, then you have to resort to something else, or else you're going to be making mistakes constantly over and over again, and that's not the goal, right? So that's why I keep pushing this, guys. Like, this specific cycle, even though it's able to shift in its own way, it does it in a very specific way, and you have to know the meaning behind that. This video is not just, or my channel is not just showing how this cycle is just playing out identical or flipped or whatever. It's showing the meaning behind that, what these patterns mean, right? I talk about the projector pattern. I talk about the blue pattern. I'm giving you information that backs up my reasoning. I'm not just showing you a chart and telling you it's tracking it. I'm giving you why I believe it's tracking it. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. No, hey, brother. I love you, dude. No matter what, I love you, Mark. I love you, bro. I love you. I'm like, you're entitled to your difference. All I'm saying is, the only thing I said was, that, like, I'm just responding to whatever you, if you're gonna say something, I'm gonna respond to it, because I like to respond to these. That's the whole purpose of this live stream, is to respond to your questions, right? Or like your statements, whatever it is that you're pushing out. But I still love you, dude. Nah, don't be mean, guys. I love you, Mark. Just say I love you, Mark, in the chat. I love you. Here, I'll start it. I'll start the trend. There we go. Spread the love, guys. Everybody's entitled to their differences, and we're all here to learn, right? At the end of the day. Yeah, hashtag I love you, Mark. Let's get it. Twitter. No, I'm kidding. I love Astro, dude. Astro, I love you, man. Like at whenever I know Astro has been kind of taking a little chill, a little chill break. I 1,000% respect that guy because he's the one that shed the light or brought that this whole cycle thing. He brought it back, right? We know that cycles have been a thing forever. But he brought it back specifically to a manipulated stock like AMC, and that's awesome that he did that because then people are able to jump on this and actually crack the code and see what's happening, right? I love that guy. I love Astro. He deserves a song. We need to sing a song for Astro. Oh, lordy. You know what? Hey, Topical TV, man. Whenever, I go live again, if I have time to do it over the next couple days at some point, I will definitely do that. Specifically for you, man, I will rename the chat here, and I'll go over a production live stream or something on how I do the music, how I do everything. I love it, dude. That's my passion, man. It's music and video editing, everything. It's just my passion, dude. Thank you, my guy, Mila. I mean, dude, you kind of said it for me, bro. I was literally thinking that. I am going to cut the stream, guys, just because it is 5 already. But it was awesome having you guys here, and I hope to do this more often. I just started doing live streams, so I hope to get back into it at some point in the near future. So thank you for watching, and you guys are awesome, and I freaking love you guys, all right? Take it easy. Love you. Bye-bye.